Hello children, I hope you are all happy and safe. Welcome to this special English hour. Here every day we will learn something new in a fun and exciting way. Are you ready to have fun? Okay, then please stand up and join me in a dance.
Monster here, monster there, monster everywhere. I think this invisible monster wants to play with us. Come on, let's see if the monster wants to play with us. Monster, can you roll and clap? Monster, come on, roll and clap. Monster, can you jump and touch your toes? Monster, come on, jump and touch your toes. Did you see that? He is playing with us. Monster, can you tap really fast? Monster, come on, tap really fast. Monster, can you clap around? Monster, come on, clap around. Wow, this was so much fun. Monster, we will see you soon. Bye-bye.
Children, I hope you all enjoyed the singing and dancing we just did. Now, I would like to ask you a few questions. Let us share our thoughts and ideas. Children, have you heard your parents or elders or teachers say, "This is a good boy. This is a good girl"? Yes, I believe you must have heard that often. Why do you think someone is called a good girl or a good boy? Sometimes they are called so because they do some job well. They are also called good because they may be caring, kind, and helping to their friends. Children, what are these things called? To be caring, to be kind, to be helpful towards others? These are all called values. It is very important that we all have values from a very young age. Because if we learn to be kind, respectful, and caring towards people around us right from a small age, we will also grow into an adult who is just like that. Right? These values are very important. Children, who teaches us about values? We usually learn about good values from our school, from our teachers, from our family, from our parents. We also learn he traveled every day with another merchant who also sold brass and tinware. But this other man was greedy. When he sold something, he sold it at a very high price. But when he bought something, he tried to give as little as possible. When the two merchants went into a town, they divided the streets between them. Each one went up and down the streets he had chosen, calling, "Tinware for sale, brass for sale." People came out to their doorsteps and bought or traded with them. Only after one merchant had finished his business on that street did the other one make his rounds there. Children, who is this story about? This story is about two merchants. Merchants are people who buy and sell things. So, these two merchants were from a town named Seri. Okay, these two merchants every morning decided who would go up which street. They traded in tinware and brass. They would walk up and down the streets calling out, "Tinware for sale, brass for sale." Out of the two merchants, one of them was very greedy. He would buy things at a very low price, but when he had to sell, he would sell them at a very high price. Children, would you like to know what happens further in the story? Then come, let's read. In those days, people did not always use money to buy things. Sometimes they exchanged things of the same value. In one house, there lived a poor old woman and her granddaughter. The family had once been rich, but now the only thing they had left of all their riches was a dish made of gold. However, the grandmother did not know it was a golden dish. The dish stood on a shelf among the other pots and pans and was not often used. So, children, in this story, there is a grandmother and her granddaughter. They both live together in a small house. The family had once been rich, but with time they lost all their riches and became poor. They still had a dish of gold with them, but this dish was lying between the pots and pans in the house and was not used very often. The grandmother herself was not aware that the dish was made from gold. During those times, people did not always use money to buy things. Sometimes they also exchanged things. Now, the greedy merchant passed this house, calling, "Buy my water jars, buy my pans, buy my tinware." The granddaughter said, "Oh, grandmother, do buy something for me." "My dear," said the old woman, "we are too poor to buy anything. I have not anything to trade even." So, the greedy merchant passes by the poor grandmother's house. He calls out, "Buy my tinware, buy my pots, buy my pans." The little granddaughter went running to her grandmother and said, "Grandma, please buy me something. The merchant is calling in the street." The grandmother told her granddaughter, "We don't have money enough to buy anything. We don't even have something to trade, that is something to exchange and get you what you want. Grandmother, see, I have found this old dish among other pots and pans on the shelf. We don't ever use it. Can we trade this? Perhaps the merchant will take it and give us something nice for it. The old woman called the merchant and showed him the dish, saying, "Will you take this, sir, and give the little girl here something for it?" The greedy merchant took the dish and scratched its side with a needle. He came to know immediately that it was a golden dish, but he wanted to get it for nothing from the old woman. So he said, "What is this worth? Not even a copper coin." He threw the dish on the ground and went away. The crafty merchant was planning to come back after some time and buy the dish for a few copper coins, as if doing a great favor to the old lady. The granddaughter took the golden dish and went to her grandmother. She told her grandmother, "Grandma, we don't use this dish often. Can we give this to the merchant?" The grandmother calls the merchant and shows him the dish. She says, "Please, sir, see this and give something to the little child in exchange of it." The greedy merchant has a good look at the dish. He takes a needle and scratches the side of the dish and comes to know that it's a golden dish. But the greedy merchant doesn't want to pay the grandmother anything for it. So he drops the dish on the ground and says, "This dish is worth nothing, not even a few copper coins," and walks away. The greedy merchant had a wicked plan. He thought he would come back later and take the golden dish only in exchange of a few coins, as if he was doing a favor. He was doing something big for the grandmother. After a while, the honest merchant finished the rounds of his streets and entered the street where the old lady lived. He passed her house calling, "Buy my water jars, buy my tinware, buy my brass." The little girl heard him and begged her grandmother to see what this merchant would give for the dish. "My child," said the grandmother, "the merchant who was just here threw the dish on the ground and went away. I have nothing else to offer in trade." "But grandmother," said the girl, "this one looks pleasant. Ask him. Perhaps he'll give us something for it." "Call him then and show it to him," said the old woman. The honest merchant, that is, the other merchant, had finished his rounds in his fixed streets. So he decided to go to the streets where the greedy merchant had been all morning. When this honest merchant was passing by the old lady's house, calling, "Buy my tinware, buy my brass," at that time the little girl heard him. The little girl again went up to her grandmother. She said, "Grandma, please let's ask this merchant, what would he give in exchange of this plate?" The little girl requested her grandmother, and her grandmother said, "Okay, go and call him." The little girl told her grandmother, "This merchant looks pleasant. Probably he may give something in exchange of the plate. As soon as the merchant took the dish in his hands, he knew it was of gold. Immediately he said, "This is a golden dish. It is worth more than all my money and all my wares. I'll bring enough money tomorrow and then buy it from you." The old woman was greatly surprised. She was impressed by the honesty and goodness of the merchant. "Take this dish and give me the money tomorrow," she said. The grandmother showed the golden dish to the merchant. The honest merchant at once told the grandmother, "This is a golden dish. It is worth more than all of my wares here. I will get more money tomorrow and then take this plate from you." The grandmother was very surprised at the honesty and goodness of this merchant. She tells the merchant, "You take the plate and you can give me the money tomorrow." The honest merchant kept all his wares and money with the old woman and took the dish. He left himself only enough money for the boat ride that he had to take on his way back. After some time, the greedy merchant went back to the house where he had seen the golden dish and said, "Bring that dish to me and I will give you something for it." "No," said the grandmother. "You said the dish was worthless, but another honest merchant has paid a great price for it, so I gave it to him. You should not try to take advantage of the poor and needy people." What could the greedy merchant say? He paid the price for his dishonesty and greed. The honest merchant left all his wares with the grandmother and also gave her money that he had. He only left little money in his pocket so that he could take the boat ride back home. He took the golden dish with him. A little while later, the greedy merchant came to the grandmother's house and said, "Get me that dish. I will give you something for it." The grandmother told him, "You will not get the dish now. A good, honest man came and took the dish. He also paid a good price for it. You lied to me." The greedy merchant could not say anything. He paid the price for his dishonesty and greed. At last, the grandmother tells the greedy merchant, "You should not take advantage of the poor." So children, did you like this story? I am sure you all like the story of the two merchants of Seri. What did we learn from this story? We learned that we must always be honest and truthful. Did you see how greedy the merchant was? He could have paid at least some amount for the golden dish, but instead he just threw it and told the grandmother that it was worth nothing. He wanted to buy the golden dish just for a few coins and later sell it off at a high price. But what happened in the end? He paid for his own dishonesty, while the honest merchant got the golden plate. So children, the lesson that we get, the learning that we have from this story is be honest. Children, now let's have a look at a few new words that we learned today. Okay? and we will also try to make some simple sentences to understand their meaning better. The first word is greedy. 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 Greedy means someone who wants more than what is needed. Someone who always wants more. The first sentence is, we must not be greedy. The second sentence is, the merchant was a very greedy man. The second word is shelf. 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 You may have seen shelves in the cupboard or in the walls. A shelf is a place where you can keep things. The grandmother kept the golden dish on a shelf. Rita kept a pot on the shelf. Next word, exchanged. 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 To exchange means to take one thing and to give another in exchange of it. I exchanged my comic book with my friend for his toy. Mother exchanged an old vessel for a new one with the shopkeeper. Next word, dishonest. 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 Dishonest means a person who lies. People don't like a dishonest person. The greedy merchant was a dishonest person. Children, I hope you all enjoyed today's session. I would now request you to please make some time and write down the values that you would like to have. For example, today we discussed a lot about honesty. If honesty is the value you would like to have, then please write it down in your list. Children, till we meet next time, please take care. Bye-bye and stay safe.